Hi, I'm Charlie with Janus Motorcycles, and today we're going to install a cargo rack for a Halcyon 450. Cue the slide guitar. Bow, da, bow, bow, bow. You know that one. To install your cargo rack, you are going to need these tools right here. They're common tools. If you own a motorcycle, you should probably have these in your garage anyways. You can listen to me describe it, or you can check in the description or flash it up on the screen now, all the tools you're going to need. We need a 6mm, a 5mm, and a 3mm Allen key. The 6 has to be a L wrench, not a T handle. We need a flathead screwdriver, a ratchet, and a 13 and 17mm socket, a 13mm wrench, a 17mm wrench, and an 8mm wrench. And then the last thing is some kind of soft-faced hammer. So step number 1, this is very important. You got your brand new motorcycle. Take a rag and put it over the fender like that. Protect it while we're working, because you will rest some parts on there if you need. So the first thing we're going to do is pull the seat springs off of your seat. So in adding the cargo rack, we are doing a delete for the 5-inch seat springs and adding rubber bumpers like we've talked about in all our other videos on this subject. For this, you're going to need that 6mm L key and the 13mm Allen wrench. Having a speed wrench really helps with this, makes it go a lot faster, but it's not necessary. We are going to pull these 2 bolts off of both, top and bottom. So 13mm wrench on top, 6mm Allen key on the inside. There we go. Now that we've got the old seat springs out, the last thing we're going to do before we open up our brand new cargo rack box is loosen up your seat pivot bolt right here. This bike is a little beat up because it's our demo bike. This is the 13mm socket and the flathead screwdriver. So here it is. If you order a cargo rack from us, this is the box you're going to get, and this is all the hardware you're going to get. So we got a little baggie with all the hardware that we need for it. We've got the center support with the included seat pivot bolt. And the cargo rack itself. All right, the first little bit of assembly that we need to do on this is add the rubber bumpers to the center rack, or the center support. So I will unceremoniously dump out all the hardware on the table. For this, we're going to need 2 M5 washers, 2 M5 button head bolts, and 2 M5 nuts. To install this, we will need the 8mm wrench and 6mm Allen key. So we take our rubber bumpers, the stainless button head screw goes in like that, no washer underneath the head. These go in these holes in the center support. They get a washer and a nut. Same on the other side. For this, you could use an 8mm socket if you want. Speed wrench makes it faster. Ratchet and a socket would make it even faster, but not too bad. These do not need to be super tight. That is ready to go on the bike. This is going to be the first thing we install on the bike. And now you'll see what we put this rag on here for. So lift up your seat a little bit and get this roughly set in place. I'm going to balance it right there for now while we get the seat pivot bolt out. So we loosened this earlier but didn't take it out all the way. Now is the time for you to undo the bolt all the way, but do not drive this pivot bolt out. If you do, your bike will fall apart on the floor. The swing arm will come loose and the bike will fold in half. So don't do that. I got a trick to show you that solves that problem. So if we remove this bolt, the top of the shocks aren't held to the mainframe anymore and the bike will break its back and fold like that. So there always has to be a piece in there unless you're gonna have it on a center stand. But I have a way that I'm gonna show you right now where you don't need a center stand to put this on. So we'll get our soft face mallet, and you wanna come over here, Jordan. We're gonna take our new bolt and our soft face mallet, and first I'm gonna take and hit that old bolt in, and using the new bolt, just drive it in so that I can fit the tip of the new bolt in there. So before you install your brand new bolt, make sure you get one of the washers underneath the head. That's what it looks like. Goes underneath the head. And then on this side, what we're gonna do is take the new bolt through the center bracket into the hole it's supposed to go into. And I'm gonna give it a couple taps just so it stays there. There we go, got it started. So now what I'm gonna do, we come take a look at what's going on this side. The other leg to that center support is sitting on top of our old bolt, and we're gonna use the new bolt to drive the old bolt out underneath this leg. When the old bolt comes out, we'll drop the leg down and push the new bolt through the last hole, and then we can get a nut on the other side. Be very careful when you're doing this not to hit your bike with a hammer. Make sure you hold on to this guy. When it comes out, it will shoot across the room if you're not careful. So now that that's out, I'm gonna line that leg up with the hole. Pound the bolt the rest of the way through. This will get one more washer and a nylock nut on the outside. Leave it just like that for now. We'll tighten everything up together at the end. Now that we have the center support in place, we are going to install the rack itself. With the center support in this position, you want to fit this over the top of it. It can rest here while you're working down on the leg, so I'll leave that right here. If it helps, you can poke a bolt through that hole just to keep it in place. So now you're going to take one of the included washers, M10 bolts, and nylock nuts, and get them down in the frame rails at the bottom there. For this, you'll need a 17mm wrench and a 17mm socket and a ratchet. Washer goes under the head of the bolt. No washer under the nut on the back side. And I'm just going to leave that loose until we get all the rest of the bolts in. On to our last two bolts now. These are M8 button heads. They get a washer underneath the head and underneath the nut. So I'm going to feed that right in there. Since both of these are still loose, we can move them around. Lift them up till you get the holes lined up. Just like that. I'll get the other one in there. And we are going to need the 13mm wrench and the 5mm Allen key or T-handle to get these on. Stick a washer and a nut for the bottom side. Everything's together, we're going to start tightening bolts down. So the order we're going to tighten these down on is important, so follow closely. The first thing we're going to do is tighten these two together, tie the two assemblies together. And this could be done with a 13mm socket or a speed wrench or just a wrench if that's what you had. Now we'll use our 17mm socket and wrench and tighten up the pivot bolt. One important tip when doing this stuff is you need to be either use tools with a soft handle, or you need to be really careful not to scratch your bike. Don't touch the powder coat with anything metal. Same wrench and socket again. We'll do the final 2 bolts. There it is. Everything is installed. The last thing we're going to do before we're all the way wrapped up is check that the seat still moves. That's got to have a pivot to it, and check that nothing else does. So when I grab and pull on this, I don't feel anything clicking or moving. I don't hear anything. Good to go. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Charlie with Janus Motorcycles. If you're interested in the development of this or any of the other things we do, you should check out our YouTube channel.